The Hulk Hogan racism scandal is the biggest one to rock the wrestling world in quite some time. The WWE Hall of Famer's foul-mouthed tirade, which included proclaiming that he was a racist, as well as a slur of F-words and N-words, has been so damaging that the WWE have removed all mentions of Hulk Hogan from their website and completely terminated his contract. Hogan was mainly working in a promotional capacity, and although there were no serious plans for Hogan to step back into the squared circle to work a match, he was still an important part of the WWE machine. He was an instantly recognizable mascot, easy to promote with the WWE network. To some people, Hogan was the WWE. Now that connection is severed. There has been a lot of fallout over the controversy, with people from all walks of life chiming in with their 2 cents. Current and former wrestlers have come out on the fence and come out against Hogan, and every news sites, blogs, and social media dweller has their opinion on it as well. A lot has been said, but what have we learned? In the aftermath of a story as huge as this, it's important to reflect and see what lessons we can take away from it in 2014. The Hogan brand was still worth a lot to WWE. Hogan's merchandise still outsold many current WWE superstars. Hulk helped promote the WWE brand during media appearances. And it's not like Hogan works cheap. He's one of the smartest businessmen in the whole business today. Hogan has consistently negotiated himself big money deals, and as recently as 2005, his contract stipulated that he be the highest paid performer for any pay-per-view he was wrestling on. Despite all this, Hogan was deemed expendable by WWE in the wake of the scandal. It wasted no time in severing ties with the WWE Hall of Famer, removing all traces of the disgraced star from their website as soon as they became aware of the racist tirade tape. Many figured that Hulk Hogan would be a WWE lifer, despite the past issues between the wrestler and the company. However, this recent scandal has put the notion in doubt. Hogan can no longer pass a WWE physical to wrestle in matches, and WWE can employ other legends to promote the WWE network and so forth in the press. WWE is really trying to keep their image clean. You don't need to look any further than this past Monday on Raw, when a WWE ringside doctor stopped the match to clean the blood off John Cena's face. WWE used to revel in being the poster company of mainstream entertainment, throwing its delirious mix of sex and violence into the face of its critics, and there were a lot at the time. Vince and company were frequently derided by so-called moral purists who objected to WWE's content, and Vince and company absolutely loved it. How have times changed? It's arguable that back in the Attitude Era, WWE would try to capitalize on the Hulk Hogan racism storm, perhaps by promoting a racially insensitive character or producing some skit that poked fun at it. But since WWE went PG in 2008, there's no chance of that happening today. The company is really trying to clean up their image, removing most of the most salacious elements from their programming. Nowadays, the women's are covered up, blood is banned, and a wrestler can even be fired for choking someone with their tie, which we saw with Daniel. WWE disassociating themselves from one of their biggest and most valuable stars is ever more proof that WWE are trying to clean up their act. It doesn't matter if you're Hulk Hogan or if you're Stevie Richards. If you paint the company in a negative light and conflict with the current status quo, you will be let go. I would love to see how this affects the stock market long term. WWE shares increased by 14% earlier this month, netting shareholders a cool $160 million. WWE stock is unstable at the best of times, but this is welcome news to those who have a stake in the company. Following the news of Hulk Hogan's racist behavior, WWE stock absolutely tanked. The day the story broke, WWE shares decreased to $16.60, a drop of almost 4% from the day before. This drop swiped about $50 million away from the shareholders, which they are not happy about. Even after Hogan apologized, shares continued to drop, bottoming out at $16 in after hours of trading. He may not have technically been a WWE employee anymore, but Hogan's actions still affected WWE in very real ways. The WWE can't run away from its past, and the past will continue to haunt them as more of this controversial story comes out. As much as WWE is trying to rebrand itself as a family-friendly entertainment that exists just to put smiles on people's faces, the company's past continues to come back and haunt them. When Linda McMahon ran for the Senate in 2008 and 2012, her competition had endless hours of damning material to use against her. Once Hulk Hogan's racist rant became public knowledge, news outlets didn't have to look far for footage of WWE's owner uttering a racist word as well. Sites such as TMZ shared a clip of Vince McMahon uttering the N-word to John Cena during a backstage segment in 2005, although it was done in a satirical manner. The camera cut to African-American wrestler Booker T after McMahon's Fox pass. WWE were still moved to release a statement clarifying the content. Once the video became widely shared on social media, WWE must deeply regret a lot of the stuff that they aired on their programs, regardless of how popular it was at the time. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Hulk Hogan fallout has been monitoring the response of fans on social media. While there have been plenty of people vilifying the Hulkster, praising WWE's swift response and calling for him to be removed from the WWE Hall of Fame, there have been just as many die-hard Hulkamaniacs that have had his back. Hogan has received tens of thousands of support tweets. Most of them appear to be along the lines of, we know it's not the real you. Stay strong, brother. Other variations include fellow Christians telling him that he will only be judged by God, and some pointing out that WWE has shown hypocrisy with the firing of him. The Immortal One has been retweeting these messages at a furious pace. Clearly, Hogan still has his fans, and he will continue to follow and support him no matter what. Not only that, but he has also had his fair share of supporters from the wrestling business as well. There's been plenty of his former co-workers coming out in support of their troubled colleague. Kamala, Kevin Nash, Mick Foley, Disco Inferno, Tito Ortiz, Virgil, and even Dennis Rodman are just some of the names vouching for Hogan's character. The Ugandan giant had this to say about Hulk Hogan. That's not the Hogan I know. Hogan always treated me like a gentleman. He genuinely cared about me. He was my friend. He'd tell me, brother, I'm getting my money. I hope you're getting yours, because we're putting butts in the seat. When it came to our matches, he valued my input. He always said, what do you want to do out there, brother? I tell him, and then we go out there and we do it. He's a sweetheart of a guy. Mick Foley, meanwhile, tweeted that he felt Hogan was a good person who made a bad mistake, adding that his heart hurts for him. Kevin Nash said that in 23 years of knowing Hogan, that he never heard him say anything racist in all their time together. As the days, weeks, and months roll on, there are bound to be more of Hogan's friends, colleagues, coming out of the woodwork to support him. But at the same time, there have been a number of high-profile names who have been very quick to come out and vilify him even further. Guys like Scott Steiner, CM Punk, Booker T, and Mark Henry are just some of those who have come out against Hogan. Longtime rival Steiner, who earlier this year was banned from the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony and WrestleMania after he threatened to kill Hogan, clearly enjoyed reveling in Hulk Hogan's misery. Big Papa Pump tweeted a dictionary definition of the word karma before branding Hogan a piece of and saying that he and Donald Sterling should play Russian roulette with all the bullets in the chamber. Wow. CM Punk, who also had beef with Hogan earlier this year over the Stanley Cup Finals, tweeted, LOL, and retweeted a fan who wrote, now we know why he doesn't like the Blackhawks. Booker T, the man who accidentally called Hogan the N-word during a promo in WCW in 1996, took to Twitter to say that, I am shocked by the statement made by Hulk Hogan. It's unfortunate, but that's something that he's been going to have to deal with. It's 2015, and the N-word should be eradicated from the English language in my opinion. I am shocked by the statements made by Hulk Hogan. It's unfortunate, but that's something that he's going to have to deal with. Mark Henry released a longer statement which concluded with the following. I'm disappointed in the comments made by Terry Bollea. I've known Terry for a long time as both a hardworking colleague and as someone I consider a friend. I'm hurt and offended that he expressed his feelings in a manner and that his tone was presented on the tape. I am, however, pleased that WWE took swift action in response to his comments, and I support the position the organization is taking on the matter. A no-tolerance approach to racism. If Hulk ever does come back to WWE, he's going to have a lot of apologies to make. Not just to the wrestlers, but to the staff as well. If there's one thing we know 100% though for a fact, it's that Hulk Hogan will one day be back in the WWE. It didn't take Hulk Hogan long to go into damage limitation mode, quoting scriptures of the Bible on social media, as well as throwing Vince McMahon and the President of the United States under the bus to make himself look better. Hogan is deflecting the attention away from himself, while also telling everyone who will listen that it wasn't the real Hulk Hogan who said these things. Because deep down inside, Hogan knows that he will be back. While he said some horrific things and acted in a totally unacceptable way, he will still be forgiven and welcomed back by a large percentage of the WWE fan base. America loves a good comeback story, and a childhood hero tends to be forgiven more readily than most. This is not the first time that Hogan has been staring into the abyss with a controversial story. In the early 90s, when he lied about his steroid usage on the Arsenio Hall show, there was an outcry. In the mid-2000s, when his personal life began falling apart and his son was nearly killed, Hulk managed to spin it and blame it on somebody else. He's been in controversial stories in the past, and in Hogan's mind, he's probably already picturing the next Hulk Hogan Appreciation Night. He'll probably keep training for his in-ring comeback. A WrestleMania main event against John Cena is certainly out of the question at this point, but it is inevitable that he will be back. WWE may be distancing themselves from Hogan now, but when there's money to be made in the future, the two will be back in business again.